He thought the cameras wouldn't catch it. He thought the crowd wouldn't care. But last night something broke. Not just in the stadium, but in the soul of the country. It wasn't just a chant. It wasn't just football banter. It was a message, brutal and unmissable, sent straight to Keir Starmer's face. Shouted, recorded and broadcast to millions. No PR team could control it. No spin could clean it up. This was Labour's mask slipping off in public. The man who promised unity, integrity and change was branded, humiliated and exposed for what the people really think he is. And it didn't come from a rival politician or a hostile press. It came from ordinary people, the very voices Labour was built to protect. What happened in that stadium might be the most honest political moment Britain's had in years. Keir Starmer isn't just unpopular. He's become a symbol of betrayal, of detachment, of everything that's gone wrong with a party that once stood for something. The chant that echoed through that stadium wasn't carefully rehearsed. It wasn't planned by a protest group or funded by a campaign. It came from the gut, from the raw frustration of people who feel abandoned, ignored and lied to. And that's why it hit harder than any Prime Minister's questions or media interview ever could. When 7,000 voices rise in unison to call a political leader the C word, not as a joke, but as a verdict, you're not dealing with rudeness anymore. You're dealing with rage. It's not about football. It's not even just about Starmer. It's about a movement that feels like it's been hijacked, turned from a people's party into a corporate machine. The Labour Party used to be alive with working class power, youth energy, union strength. Under Starmer, it's become hollow. No vision, no fire, just empty slogans about stability, responsibility, and being ready to govern, as if that means anything when your own supporters can't even stand the sight of you. He promised to bring people together, but all he's done is split his own base. Left-wing members purged, union voices silenced, members of parliament more afraid of upsetting donors than defending workers. This isn't leadership, it's management. It's cold, cautious, and painfully out of touch. That's why people are turning on him so viciously, because they feel conned. And the anger isn't coming from fringe radicals, it's coming from the terraces, the pubs, the homes of people who voted Labour their whole lives. And now, they're done being polite, they're done waiting, and they're done pretending this man speaks for them. Starmer walks into public appearances like he's entering a shareholders' meeting. He speaks like a lawyer on autopilot, careful, boring, afraid to say anything real. And people can feel it. The British public isn't perfect, but we know when someone's faking it. That's why the chant hit so hard. It was raw, it was vulgar, but it was real. And in this age of polished PR and media spin, realness matters more than ever. You can wear a suit, you can read a script, but if you can't connect, the people will call you out. And in Starmer's case, they did, with 4 brutal letters. And while this chant was making its way around the country, viral on TikTok, looped on Instagram, memed on X, what was Starmer doing? Issuing carefully worded statements, dodging interviews, letting his party spokespeople talk in circles about decorum and respect. But where was that respect when his own finance ministers were linked to questionable donations? When Angela Rayner's name kept circling in backroom discussions nobody wants to clarify? Where was the respect when Labour sided with anti-strike laws and turned its back on the very workers it was built to represent? It's not just Starmer's words that are the problem. It's the silence, the dodging, the cowardice. Every time he refuses to answer a direct question, every time he blames the context or the circumstances, people hear the same message. He doesn't care. He just wants to survive politically, no matter what values he burns along the way. And that's why the chant wasn't a scandal. It was a symptom of a deeper collapse. This is what happens when trust erodes, when leadership becomes a performance. When your party drowns in corruption but you pretend the water's fine, the people know they're not stupid, and now they're not quiet either. That chant, loud, aggressive, unapologetic, was the moment all that anger found its voice. A release valve, a warning, and perhaps the beginning of something bigger. Because this isn't just politics anymore, it's culture, it's identity, it's class. And when Labour, the party that once claimed to be the beating heart of working Britain, ends up being called the C word, by the very people it was meant to serve. That's not just humiliation, that's collapse.